everybody, and welcome to the Bob Stoops app. I'm Brad McMullen, along with Hall of Fame football coach Bob Stoops. We're talking about OU Nebraska this week, a huge game. Of course, it's the Fox Noon big kickoff game this week. It was well, and of course, the big anniversary, the 50 years since the game of the century. And I don't know why we're celebrating that, because OU didn't win that game.
Yeah, I'm with you on that part of it. But I've got another stat that no one out here in OU country is aware of. But all my Hawkeye friends know. Today, 1981, Iowa beats Nebraska 10-7 in Kinnick Stadium there in Iowa City. I was a junior on that team, and we had beaten UCLA the week before, beat Nebraska, on our way to end up in the Rose Bowl at the end of that season. So all my Hawkeye friends are talking about that today. So 1981, we beat Nebraska 10-7.
All right, so the good news for Nebraska fans, he's not playing against you or coaching against you, because this guy did a lot of damage to Nebraska. Last time OU played Nebraska was actually for the Big 12 championship, a game that OU won. It was in 1959. OU had a 74-game conference winning streak snapped by Nebraska when an unranked Nebraska defeated Oklahoma 25-21 in a huge upset. Again, Nebraska unranked, Oklahoma ranked. What does Nebraska have to do to shock the world? And this would be literally shocking the world, beating number 3 Oklahoma in Norman.
Well, they're going to have to play really good football. First of all, usually when you play Oklahoma, you're going to have to score points. Lincoln Riley and his offensive staff, offensive players have just week in and week out, regardless of who they're playing, are going to put up numbers. And same thing. I hope to see OU's defense play better. But I think watching Tulane put up 69 points last week, everybody realizes Tulane had a stronger offense than they were given credit for coming in. I do believe we've made improvements at OU defensively, and we'll need to see that here this week. But Nebraska's going to need to have some big production on offense in order to keep up with OU, I believe.
And some of the things that people take for granted for many years is that unbelievable rivalry. They played for more than 70 years in a row up until 1996. And then the formation of the Big 12, the 2 different divisions. They didn't get to play every year. Some memorable games, of course. This guy was a part of it. 2000, number 1 versus number 2.
And even ahead of that, you had talked to just playing so many years, 70-some years. I'm a young person, young kid in Ohio. Grew up, I'd never miss that game. I couldn't wait to watch OU Nebraska on Thanksgiving usually. So just loved following those games. And my personal favorite all time, other than the national championship, is the 2000 game with Nebraska here. We had kicked off a huge fundraising campaign the night before. I never leave the team for a half hour before a game, the night before a game. But I went to the fundraising event because I knew how important it was. And lo and behold, we come out the next day, down first 2 series, 14-0. And I mean, you know how you're doing cards, you're checking your whole card when you're playing 7-card stud, you're checking what I got in the hole. So we were checking, and everybody calmed down, said, look, just take a breath, calm down, and we'll be fine. And we go on to 31 unanswered points, win 31-14, storm the field, tear down the goalposts. I remember standing in the end zone getting interviewed by Lynn Swan, the great Lynn Swan. The player was the sideline reporter. And we're getting pepper spray or mace. We had to move because they were trying to keep the people away from the goalposts because they could really hurt somebody when they come down. But that's the only time I can recall our fans ever storming the field. And I think what it signified was we were back. OU was back in the national picture. A top 5 program and a team that can compete for the national championship. And of course, we went on and won it that year.
And I think, for being a student at that time and getting a chance to watch that game, which was unbelievable, by the way, there was also the part of the recent memory. The largest, most lopsided game in the history of this series actually happened just 3 years prior. John Blake's squad lost 69-7 in Norman in 1997. So it wasn't 10 or 15 or 20 years early. It was 3 years prior, and then you took a team that had lost literally 69-7 and changed the culture, changed everything, and beat the number one team in the country in Norman.
31-14 and beat them handily. And let's not bring up those other bad games from years past. But my other favorite really was the first Big 12 championship game that we were going to play in the AT&T Stadium, 2010. You know, Nebraska being coached by my good friend Bo Pelini and us. And golly, we get behind 17-0, I think it was in that game.
You're just like giving those points to start out, right?
And come back and win. Landry Jones leading us as a quarterback was a great quarterback for us. But anyway, that was pretty special playing in AT&T Stadium and, for the Big 12 championship, two rivals and longtime rivals.
And for people that don't know about the special history of these two programs, listen to some of these stats. In 1964, 1966, 1975, 1979, and 1987, Nebraska's only loss that year was to Oklahoma. A lot of national championships Nebraska would have had if it wasn't for arch rival Oklahoma. And in 1971 and 1978, Nebraska gave Oklahoma their only loss those same seasons.
I always have told Coach Switzer, who we're very close friends, or have a lot of fun together. And I said one of the most impressive things I believe, because in his 16 years he won the Big 8 12 of the 16 years, because Nebraska was Nebraska. The Tom Osborne and the championship years and as you just said, it was one or the other, winning the conference and or, national championships or only having one loss. But to win it 12 to 16 times against Coach Osborne, to me, is pretty incredible.
Amazing team, amazing streak, and of course that history. We get to see it again this year. They're scheduled to play next year and then not again until 29 and then again in 30. Talking about the state of Nebraska football, we did a show literally about this. This year didn't start out well for them. They played an Illinois team. They were favored to win. Illinois has struggled this year. Their only win was to Nebraska. What's wrong with the program at Nebraska right now?
Yeah, that's really hard to say when you're not in the middle of it, So looking from afar, it seems to me that there has to be some level of dysfunction throughout the athletic department, is in my view. I don't know why or how, but to me, you never do it just by yourself. Scott Frost is not going to win there by himself. It's the administration supporting you, the fan base. They always have a great fan base supporting you. A culture of winning starts with everybody. President, athletic director, head coach, and it trickles down to your players. And this is how we compete. This is how we work every day. And this is how we build it. And for whatever reason, it just has not happened there. And I don't think you can just say, hey, it's hard to recruit there. It's hard to recruit to a lot of places. For instance, Iowa isn't easy to recruit to. But they seem to play well, always have great players. Heck, they've got as many NFL players, maybe more than we have over the last 10, 15 years. So point being, they're developing players to be, whether it be NFL players and or win, 8, 9, 10 games a year. And they have another strong team this year. So anyway, it's hard to say from not being a part of their program what the missing piece has been, but they've been missing something.
All right, last year in the Big 12, obviously 2010 when they played Oklahoma for the Big 12 championship, you look at that roster of players and where the players on the Nebraska Cornhuskers came from. A large chunk of them came from the state of Texas. Now you look at the 2021 roster, very, very few people from the state of Texas. It has been great financially for Nebraska to move to the Big 10, but leaving the state of Texas and the recruiting bed behind did not help things.
There's no question. Proximity matters, to where you're going to school, but also who you're competing against. And moving, I believe moving to the Big Ten may have been a financial boom for them, but at the end of the day, I don't know that for their football program it's been the best. Recruiting wise, for whatever reason, it just hasn't happened very well for them. Or whether it be development, on and on. As I said earlier, there could be multiple reasons why it hasn't worked. But that move hasn't been great for them when it comes to winning football games.
All right, so the game here is in Norman. Your friends from Fox are coming into town. What are you doing for your buddies while they're coming into Norman?
Well, I've got a few meetings with them, but my first loyalty, I have to be at several functions celebrating this game of the century with the athletic department and Coach Switzer and his group. So I've got a lot of that to do Thursday, Friday, Saturday leading up to the game. And I've got my buddies set up at a Hal Smith restaurant at Red Rock Canyon Grill over there on 24th. I've got them all lined up for a good dinner. But it'll be fun. I'm looking forward to it. Hopefully the fans will be out and around the set. We'll be on from 9 till 11 right up to the game. And it's exciting. It's been a fun group. I really enjoyed. We were in Columbus last week for Ohio State, Oregon, and we'll talk about that. Yeah. I know. But so anyway, it's been a fun group to be with, and look forward to being here in Norman.
Should be a lot of fun. Against Oklahoma leads the all-time series in the 86 meetings, 45-38 to 3 ties. All right, so Oklahoma trying to get their 46th win in the series. Oklahoma favored in this one by 22 points. How do you see the game ending?
Well, I believe OU is Spencer Rattler, OU, Coach Riley, offensively will continue to pick up the pace. I really believe I'd like to think even our run game will start to catch stride and be a little more successful. So and then defensively, I really do believe we have made improvements, and I believe that'll show. So I'm looking forward to OU having a strong game.
What's your prediction on the score? I'm putting him on the spot here.
Yeah,
it's a tough game.
I'm trying
Rivalry
not to get
game.
Lincoln Riley and the coaches mad at me because I don't want any bulletin board material out there for Nebraska.
But you think OU's going to do well?
Oh yeah, OU's going to play strong and well, and I believe Nebraska. They look better this past week, and I know depends on who you're playing to some degree, but again, I believe in Scott Frost as a head coach. I really believe he's a strong and good and excellent head coach. So I think just give it time. He'll continue to improve that program.
All right, and don't forget you can win lunch with Coach Stoops, and he's going to pick up the tab. All you have to do is enter to win right here inside the mobile app. And don't forget you can watch more videos by clicking on the video link. For Hall of Fame coach Bob Stoops, I'm Brad McMullen.